Hello homeschoolers, welcome to the land of Kakiak. My name is Laurel and today I'm going to show you my Unofficial RC Notebook level 4. Okay, let's get into it. Alright, so per usual, we're going to start with the math lesson pages. So this is the first level where this notebook actually has 2 files included with it. One has the larger grid like the previous books, and the second version has the smaller grid like this. Okay, so we'd just be starting off our day with math, date it, whatever math resource you're using. I know that RC like Saxon Math, but they do provide all of the Ray's arithmetic series as PDFs. So if you own that curriculum, you actually have, it comes with, you've already purchased access to all of these in PDF form. So I just picked one that I thought might be, I thought that this might be around 4th or 5th grade, that you would use the 4th level. And yeah, so I thought maybe Ray's New Practical Arithmetic would be maybe the book that you'd be in around about there. So, you know, open up whatever book you're working in, the kid will, and do whatever lesson they're on, work through it, right? And then when they're done with that, they get to move on. So here we are still working in our chapter and book summary, and I still have it partitioned into 3 parts. So this would be your RC book. So it's going to be covering, you know, literature, science, history, just whatever the topic is. So I just thought I would show you some books. So if you are working through the McGuffies, you could use this page for whatever reader you're on, right? So RC also comes with all of these revised versions in PDF form. So they are inserted in the book list just as like you read them when you come to them. But I like to do them separate because they're just so dead useful for a language arts program, and you can just pull so much out. These are just so helpful. And also it's kind of weird. So if they're, let's say at this age, let's take their grade, let's say 4 times 10, 40 minutes. In 40 minutes of reading, they would be reading, you know, multiple entries because these aren't that long. I don't know, it just feels a little bit disjointed. So that's why I like to read these slower, one at a time. So I don't know, you could be using these, right, for, let's say you're using that for this or something. But I'm still using this kind of separately as to have the kids read to me to check for their reading comprehension, and just to talk about all the good morals and the different types of narratives and like poems, just different types of literature that are included in the reader is really nice. Let's say you're reading the RC list in a more traditional way. Let's say maybe you're up from Slavery. That's on the book list by Booker T. Washington. So they're reading their 40 minutes, however far they get. Then, so maybe if they were reading like 1 chapter a day, it kind of depends on the book, right? Some chapters are really long and some chapters are really short. Kind of depends on the book. So they'd be putting what they were reading, you know, what page what to page what. And then if they were say they read 3 chapters, they could do 3 summary sentences. Do a summary sentence here, here, and here. And they could do little pictures if they want. Or they could do, if it was like a longer chapter or something that they were doing more in depth, they could use this to say, you know, first thing that happened in the chapter was this, then this, and last this. So this is a flexible notebooking page. So that would be covering history. But maybe you're reading, say you need to do science, right? And you're like, I need to do something, and I don't really see. Sometimes I would come across, it just seemed like parts of the book list where there like wasn't any science to read. It could be book, but they were all like literature and like social studies. But RC offers, it's not straight on the book list. You go into their other bonus materials, and they have the science overview articles. So I just printed them out and bound them a few years ago when I used this with my oldest. And we just had this was just such a good experience for us to use for math. I want to say it was his 5th grade year. I just printed all of those articles out, like the true length of a day for astronomy, the sun. So these are like articles, right? And if you remember, when we were talking about the Hockman method, the writing revolution, she had a resource for article summarizing. Let me see, where is it? Article summary. See this? Article headline, source and date, who, what, did or will do, what, when, where, why, how. I think the TS must be topic sentence of your summary of article. Come up with the topic sentence. Some details from the article and the conclusion sentence. Why this article is important. So this is to help them do an article summary, but just something you could instruct them in, right? But look at all these great science overview articles on different subjects. And there, if you have a color printer, they look really nice printed out. So yeah, this is available through RC. I don't know how to find it if you don't have the Robinson curriculum. I don't know what exactly these are out of. Hurricanes and typhoons. Kids are always interested in that. Anyway, so yeah, there was these, and there was a ton of those articles. And then they also had famous scientists. Okay, I did print out the famous scientist articles, but I don't know what I did with them. But they're also in the Robinson curriculum. But I do have, so we really enjoyed going through famous scientists also. But I have this book, so I'm just letting this be a stand-in for the famous scientist articles from RC. But you can just pick out, a famous science. You can just go through the books and pick out famous scientists, read up on them. I would have him look up the famous scientists or their like experiments or inventions in the encyclopedia too. And then I would have him do a famous scientist report. So you could have him do this basic type of thing, right? But just in here. You'd have them pick, to do like the beginning part, like the their name, where they were from, when and where they died, kind of give like their bio information, then maybe their greatest, or maybe their education kind of stuff and research area, then maybe their greatest achievement down here or something like that. Yeah, you could do that. There's something like this, but in this form. And then something else that's really accessible is, those Who Was books. They're so affordable. And I just picked some out, and I did have him read these ones that year as well while we were doing those famous scientist articles. Those are really fast reads, and you're getting some science in. One thing that they do have as far as like kind of fun science stuff on the RC list is they have Tom Swift books. And my oldest son did really like Tom Swift. So I bought him some of these. I'll link some of these in the description box for you, where he wanted to read more than were like on the list. So I bought him several of these where it's like 4 books in one. Looks like that on the inside. There's no pictures or anything, but he really enjoyed these. So, and good vocabulary. Anyways, I thought I'd show you some things that you can do that are on the RC list if you want to make sure you get science in, because it may be required of you. Spelling and vocabulary. So if you are using the RC book list and you're using their vocabulary words for each book, so you could start working them here, right? You could be writing them in. You could be matching the definitions to the words. I've been thinking about doing something along the lines of making little cards. Like if you had the kids could like write in the word and then like play a game where like maybe you read the definition to them and then they like you have two people, I don't know, maybe you play with them, I don't know. Kind of like a bingo or like most in a row if they get the right definition. But somebody has to be there to look at the definition list to make sure they're like putting the right, matching the right word with the right definition. So, and then of course, like writing your own like sentence with the word in it. But I think they have them on the RC cards. The flashcards have a sentence like that came from the book, like on the RC cards. I don't have the cards, but yeah, if you have the cards, I think you could have them just use the example sentence given with the vocabulary flashcards for each book. Okay, writing lessons. So this still pretty much looks the same, but what I like to do, about this age is, let's say they're through, I've suggested gentle grammar, right? Let's say they're through their gentle grammar, and you're like, well, what do we need to do next? I was going to show you just some like writing resources I had around the house. Full transparency, this is my resource I wrote, Stories in Grammar, A Simple Practice. And you can just go through the lessons and go through here, and you can tell Will and I started this year, and I actually thought, I actually stopped at a certain point because I thought he needed to go back and do gentle grammar first. He needed to get some easier skills laid down. But I think this would be a good next step where it is, teaching grammar through writing. They could just do, some of these they could probably just do like orally or whatever, but then they get to parts where they're writing and you could just have them write into their book. You could actually just like probably print this once and kind of use it as a textbook. And each page is going to have a little sentence editing checklist to remind them to check every sentence that they write. But you could just use something like, this. This is one that, this is how far we got before I was like, we need to go back to gentle grammar. Right, and so that would be covering grammar, grammar and getting their creative writing juices flowing. Also, I like this. This is grades 1 through 3, it says, but just whatever. If you feel like they need to work on their sentences more, I do like the Evan Moore workbooks. And again, like I would just use these as like a textbook and have them do their writing in here. Like if there's something that's like just fill it in. I have them write the whole thing out. This is teaching them like doing poetry, how to write a story for grades 1 through 3. So now it'd be like how to write your own story. This might be a good one to kind of do after the stories and grammar, because like now they get to write their own. There's one about paragraph writing, grades 2 through 4. I'll link all these down in the description box for you too. See where it says like, this is a narrative. It tells you what kind of writing it is. My friends, like I wouldn't, like here they're kind of filling it in, but I would just have them write that all out. Like my friends, they get more writing practice that way anyways. This one I really like I think I used this with Everett, I want to say in 6th grade, because he just needed a lot of help. I wanted to cover both sentences and paragraphs at the same time with him. And so we did this and we used my paragraph writing resource alongside with it, just so he could keep, like we did this and then we like kept doing paragraphs using that paragraph writing resource kind of notebook. Okay, so those are just kind of like really focusing on individual skills. Another, like the thing is with RC is I don't think it gives a whole lot of writing and grammar. It doesn't give a lot of clear instruction on like the day-to-day what to do, it lets you make those decisions. So like I always made the decision to just get something that I thought the kids needed and like put it into the writing time. One of the things I did, so with Everett, we did writing and rhetoric. This is book 3. This is all about narratives. And there's a teacher edition and, the kids workbook edition. But you do kind of have to sit down with them and do it, because there's like, talk about it. They have to tell it back to you. So but I feel like all of it you know, they need, this one, I don't know, you definitely have to be present for it. Some of them, they might be able just to read, you know, the instructions and just follow the instructions. So this one might be less independent if you want them to be independently writing more so at this age. But it'll get them, it'll move them towards that, right? And then again, writing illustrations, so they can illustrate what they're writing about. They can put some pictures on there, or they can use this for like brainstorming space. Like, what's my, you know, topic going to be about? And then like, what about the details? Maybe they kind of sketch them out before they, you know, or they do like little word clusters or something like that before they write them out. Oh, I was going to show you guys something because I showed you some cards before on the last video that I did. But they didn't have enough. I wanted more cards. I felt like I wished I had more of the affix cards and stuff. And I found this set on Amazon. I'll link it for you. It was really inexpensive. It's prefixes, root words, and suffixes. And they came, let me grab it. I took them all out and I put them in alphabetical order because there's, say this is suffixes. So look at the little guy, the little Roman for Latin, right? So it says able or able means can be done. That's Latin. And then they give some example words like capable, agreeable, edible, visible. I thought that was cool. And then they also have ones that are Greek and Old English. And there was a French one. Where'd it go? And the French, their baguettes. Anyways, I thought those were a good set. And so I had a lot more of the word parts. So there's suffixes, prefixes, and root words too. So like you could be just going through those too, right? You could be like, we're going to go over astro and aster, which means star. Words today or whatever. And you could just be studying, you know, astronomy, astronaut, asteroid, asterisk. If you want just to go through the card. I thought it was neat. I thought it was fun. I thought it was worth showing to you. Okay, so that is level 4. Okay, I'll meet you back here soon for level 5.